Hello, I'm Levi, and today we're taking this thing down. And I'm going to talk about, is this thing worth it or not? One of these tents is cheaper than building a proper garage, and technically it's a portable structure. At the time we were renting, so I had no option of building a garage, so I just went with the tent. Now here's something to consider: setup, takedown, and technical issues. You'll probably need a team of like 2 to 4 people and a few hours at least to set this up and take it down. For us, it took 2 days to assemble. We did 4 hours on the first day and about 3 hours on the second day. For takedown, it took about 3 hours, but it was all frozen to the ground, so we had to melt all the ice that had trapped it. That definitely, took some extra time. It was definitely easier to take it down than it was to set it up. Now, one mistake that I feel we made is setting it up and taking it down in winter. Now, I guess that was just kind of the way the cookie crumbles for us, but if I could really recommend anything, I'd say try to plan to set it up or take it down in the summer, in the warm months, then you're probably good. But yeah, having this thing frozen to the ground was not very fun to deal with. As you can see, we're pouring pots of boiling water on the frozen bits to free it up, and that was a fairly time-consuming process, but it really wasn't all that bad. I was just happy to be able to pull that tent out without any damage. Alright, so here's another thing to consider: price. So I bought mine used for $650 Canadian. Now that's a really steep price tag for a tent. You can definitely find them cheaper than that, but the one I got had a heavy duty cover that costed extra. I'm sure if you look around and time it right, you could probably get a better deal than I did. Alright, so here's a little pros and cons list. Pros: it's cheaper than a garage, it's portable, it's relatively affordable, it offers protection from snow, rain, wind, light hail, and sun. Actually, these things are UV treated so they don't degrade from just sitting in the sun, which is actually pretty sweet. It's a nice place to have a smoke when it's cold and windy. If you smoke, it can reduce the risk of theft. It gives shade when it's sunny, so on a bright sunny day as well, having a spot where you can go into the shade is pretty decent. It's also a good place to spray paint if you're doing any refinishing projects.
It's also a good place if you need to store some wood to keep it dry or something like that, anything that needs to be sheltered from the rain.
Now for the cons. Setup and takedown time are often underestimated. The car underneath is still gonna get dusty, dirty, and wet inside the tent. It'll need adjustment every few months as it can get pushed and bent by powerful winds. It can fly away in powerful winds if it's not anchored well, so that's a really important thing. You need to anchor this well. The tent fabric flapping in the wind can be quite loud when it gets windy. You'll likely hit your car doors on the poles if you don't park strategically. Now, this is pretty easy to do, but I didn't really foresee it until I had to park in it. I'm like, oh, I can only really park in like 2 spots in this, or I'm gonna hit my door when I exit the car. Storing it can take a lot of space. Hopefully you won't be in that position that you have to store it, but it's something to consider.
And eventually you will have to replace the cover.
So here's some life hacks and stuff I learned. The previous owner had installed some extra hooks, wire rope, and tensioners installed to the frame, and it's basically added structural rigidity, and it helped when the snow would pile on top. So I'd recommend adding a modification like that if you deal with a lot of snow. Also, I learned that stakes were pretty much useless on their own. A big windstorm came along and lifted out all the stakes I had. I was really worried the thing was gonna fly away. Luckily it didn't, so I had to restake it and tie the legs to the nearby fence. So I'd recommend having a fail-safe. So definitely use 2 methods of securing it, like use auger stakes and tie it to something, or use auger stakes and weigh it down with tent leg weight plates.
Will I be putting the tent back up? Well, after some thought, no, I've pretty much decided it doesn't really fit our current scenario with our current space and our current needs. So no, I'm getting rid of the tent now. However, while I had it, I was really happy with it. So yeah, it's been a good run. Was it worth it? I think so, yeah, pretty much. It's a shame we had to move suddenly and I had to take it down and basically have to get rid of it now. But while I had it, I enjoyed it and it was pretty good to have. It's definitely cheaper than building a permanent structure. Would I recommend it? I'd really say it's gonna depend on your situation and your needs. If it fits your space, if it fits your needs, and it fits your budget, then yeah, go for it, by all means. You have to understand it's not really a perfect solution. It still has its flaws. However, we are considering budget and convenience. It does the job. So yeah, I'd say go for it. If you do decide to get something like this, I would definitely recommend upgrading to the heavy or the ultra duty cover. That kind of thing makes for a much better quality experience, because at the end of the day, what makes the tent what it is that fabric cover, right? So if you have the cheapest cover, you're gonna probably not have the best experience. It'll probably still do the trick for you, but the better covers are definitely gonna give you better results. If you're still here, thanks for watching to the end. I really appreciate you taking the time to hear me out on this topic. And yeah, if you like the video, hit the like button. If you want to see more from me, please hit the subscribe. And if you have any kind of questions or concerns or have any feedback of your own, definitely interested in hearing from you in the comments below. Anyways, until then, bye for now, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.